Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for Friday, July 12th, 2019. We made it through another week. We're going to have to deal with more thunderstorms this weekend. Well, maybe an isolated one here or there, but for the most part, it's going to be a nice weekend with tropical-like conditions, but perfect for heading down to the shore. So our cold front is clearing out, and boy, did it produce a lot of rain and some lightning and even an isolated tornado right around the Philadelphia metro. Boy, we've seen that recently quite a bit. So once again, another strong cold front clears out. Does that mean the humidity goes away? Not so much. Temperatures this morning range from the upper 60s to mid 70s, and dew points are pretty much right lock and step. We are going to see a bit of a decrease in the humidity this afternoon, but nothing really substantial. We're dealing with fog, of course, as a result, with visibility falling below 6 miles in some locations. Not a really dense fog in any way, shape, or form, but that fog will start to give way by the time we get to this afternoon with scattered cloud cover. I can't rule out an isolated thunderstorm in this type of tropical air mass, but for the most part, we're just dealing with scattered cloud cover today. As far as the Gulf of Mexico, we're watching Barry is a tropical storm with winds of 50 miles per hour. Pressure is around 1,000 millibars and has started to move to the north, moving to the west-northwest at around 5 miles per hour. Look for that shift more to the northwest as we move on through the day today. Now, the forecast from Weather Concierge, which is a combination of myself and also meteorologist Tom Moore, we've debated it, we looked at the old pattern, and we actually used experience rather than just trusting model guidance. And pretty much our forecast has pretty much been locked in and remained the same since about yesterday. Okay, we put our first forecast out yesterday once we got an established center of circulation, and the National Hurricane Center forecast continues to shift closer and closer to our expected landfall. Now, this type of tropical storm, it doesn't really matter where the center is going to be. So at this point, the difference between our forecast and the National Hurricane Center forecast is going to be pretty much negligible when it comes to the impacts. And the impacts are the heavy rain. You're talking about 10 to 25 inches of rain around Louisiana in an area around New Orleans, which is already dealing with flooding because of previous heavy rainfall and also because of all the heavy rainfall that we've seen upstream in the Mississippi River Valley coming down into the southern Mississippi River Valley and heading towards all these tributaries that usually allow for the exit into the Gulf of Mexico. Well, you have an elevated Mississippi River, you have heavy rainfall already, which has produced flooding, and now you're adding another 10 to 25 inches on top of that. It's really going to stress the levees around New Orleans, and it's going to lead to the potential for some significant flooding. So it is not going to be pretty. That is pretty much the primary impact. And then you throw in the storm surge, which will be anywhere from 3 to 6 feet, and then you really have a problem dealing with this storm. So we're expecting it to make landfall by tomorrow morning between 6 and 7 a.m. and then it will push into the Mississippi River Valley. Now, the fact that it is moving towards the Mississippi River Valley and then the Tennessee River Valley is really, really important because that's going to impact our weather pattern with the potential for a very heavy rain event by the time we get to the end of next week. So everything's connected, and what happens in the Gulf or in the Pacific or in the Atlantic impacts our weather, and that's why you always have to keep an eye on all of this. We're going to take a look at the satellite picture around our neck of the woods. We have our cold front that is pushing off of the East Coast, and with that, it's starting to get rid of all this deep tropical moisture. Now, we had, like I said, some really impressive rainfalls yesterday, with rainfall amounts ranging anywhere from 2 to 4 inches. I saw one area of 5 inches of rain. Very, very impressive heavy rainfall that is all starting to clear out into the Atlantic. With drier air building in, once the low clouds give way, we'll have scattered cloud cover. I can't rule out an isolated thunderstorm, though. And that's pretty much going to be the theme as we move on through this upcoming weekend. So let's dive into this forecast. For today, cold front clears out, isolated thunderstorms a threat, otherwise scattered cloud cover. Temperatures will range from the lower to mid 80s along the coast and mid to upper 80s elsewhere. For tonight, look for the development of locally dense fog. Our tropical storm starts to make landfall. May get strong enough to touch hurricane strength, looking at winds ranging anywhere from about 65 to 70 miles per hour from Barry There's a potential it could touch 75 miles per hour, but that's looking less and less likely, but we'll keep an eye on that. By the time we get to tomorrow morning, Barry's making landfall, and we're having fog around here with lows in the upper 60s to lower 70s. For tomorrow afternoon, an isolated thunderstorm is possible, otherwise sky cloud cover. Look for highs in the mid to upper 80s. For Sunday, another threat for an isolated thunderstorm, otherwise locally dense fog in the morning, sky cloud cover in the afternoon. Look for temperatures on Sunday to range from the upper 60s to lower 70s and the highs in the mid 80s to lower 90s. On Monday, very tropical feel to this weather pattern. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday basically will be the same theme. Fog in the morning, isolated thunderstorm in the afternoon, otherwise sky cloud cover. Temperatures through the period will range from the mid 60s to lower 70s for lows and mid 80s to lower 90s for highs. A little bit cooler on the shore, or basically ranging from the lower to mid 80s, maybe a little cooler if we get a sea breeze. In the meantime, our remnant low pressure system from Barry and all that moisture will start to interact with a cold front. And that moisture and remnant disturbances will start to approach our region by the time we get to Thursday afternoon, and that's going to lead to a very heavy rainfall event Thursday into Friday with the potential for flash flooding. Temperatures on Thursday, very tropical with lows in the mid 70s, highs in the upper 80s to lower 90s throughout the region. Very, very heavy humidity. It's going to be stifling, so definitely be prepared for that. And then on Friday, that rain clears out. Look for lows to fall back into the upper 60s to lower 70s and highs in the lower to mid 80s. So that's your forecast discussion for today. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino, and as always, stay safe out there.